And welcome back to Iron Wolves Productions. This is Bilbo here again. I am on a recording spree today, so I should have 3 or 4 replays recorded, and I'll try to space them out so they're not all out in one day or something. In fact, I'll try to probably put this one out first because the one I just recorded actually, I spoiled the ending of this one. So if I put this one out first, then no one will. There'll be no harm, no foul. So this is on the map called River Valley that I made using the assets from Reforged, so credit to them. And this is supposed to represent the estate of the Prince of Carlin, because this is the Guathlo River Valley, is what this is. And this is a critical location from which you can, if you take this road, go up. There's a similar road on the other side of this hill here. You can take the road around and up that way. But if you take the road from this hill going east, because that's the way we're actually looking relative to the map of Middle Earth. I know it's north from the perspective of this map, but it's actually east. That will take you into the heartlands of Menhiriath, and then further east of that, Enedwaith and Dunland. And if you take the road that goes, what is actually, I believe, north, relative to the map of Middle Earth that this map was created in, the northern road will take you to Tharbad. So that's kind of the lore context of this map. And when I say north and east, what I mean is it's not just in a lore context. The way these maps are created is using the battle editor, and so basically I select a region. On the large Middle Earth map, and I selected this one right on the Guathlo River. And so the mini-map is just rotated around. So that's kind of the lore intent and perspective of this map. So there's several little towns and villages on this map. There's some large farmland as well. There are monasteries and generic churches used from vanilla Medieval 2. So I think it'll be a really fun map to play on. And of course it's a lot larger when there's more people. But as it is, as a one-person, or a 1v1, the map ends back here on the northern side, respective to the mini-map. And it doesn't go much further. It doesn't go as far out as I had intended for it to when I created the map. So that's kind of the gist of this map. So I'll take you through my Dolamroth army real quick. I have brought Parathil Champions. I've brought 2 of them. I've brought 2 Iron Swan Siegebreakers. I've brought dismounted Iron Swan Captains. Yeah, these guys I don't know if I covered. Oh, I did. I would have covered them in the changelog video, but if you didn't see that, basically you want to think of these guys as Axemen of Lasarnik. I know they're modeled with great swords, but they're modeled with great swords, and I've used them because I couldn't find any Dolamroth models that exist in other mods that wield 2-handed axes. So that's their function. Think of them as like slightly improved Axemen of Lasarnik. Your Parathil Champions are your mainline 2-handed sword masters. I've got Haven Guard here. I think I've put my... Oh, I didn't put my general in there. I put him in the Wardens of Nimberdale unit. I've got... Oh, I've already talked about the captains. I've got 2 units of Elphalas pikemen. Iron Swan Guardians are a new unit as well. I would have covered these in the changelog, I believe, for Western Kingdoms of Men. But in case if I didn't, or in case if you haven't seen it, these are your best sword and board units without getting into your general's bodyguard tier stuff, like the dismounted Silver Swan Knights or whatever. Um, but they don't have the mass buff that the Guardians do. That the Iron Swan Siegebreakers do. So you want to use these guys as just like really good sword and board. They're not going to break through any lines. They'll just hold your line. But they do have an attack, I believe, of 10. So it's pretty solid. And they have a total defense of 30. So they do cost some like 8 or 900 florins, though. So do keep those things in mind. There's Imrahil. He's with the Wardens in Nimmerdale. In this version that that I'm recording here, these guys still use the special Elven ammo that the Godly Minour do. And the next version I'm working on, which will be the first version of the Ultimate Compilation mod, they will only have AP arrows. Because I look at their bows and I think they're pretty similar enough to a steel bow to consider them a steel bow. I don't know. If I'm the only one that thinks that when I look at them, I'll shut up and I'll change it back. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Yeah. They turn into two-handed swordmaster units when they're done with their ammo, though, by the way. So, there's the other unit of Parathil Champions. Belfast Pikemen there. These are the Parathil Firebows. And in this version, I hadn't fixed their formation yet. The way I created these guys is I copied the Parathil Horse Archers and just deleted the mount and gave them a different animation. So they still have the formation as if they were a cavalry unit. So all that really means is they start spread out. And I ended up realizing that hadn't been changed in this game, and I went back and fixed it. So in future versions, you will be able to... These will operate as a normal upper-end kind of elite archer. They use the same arrows as the Lokinarim from Rune. And like the Lokinarim, they're not armor-piercing or body-piercing or anything like that, but they have the area attribute. So it basically what that means is it has like a 1 square foot area of effect or something like that. It doesn't have any like ragdoll or anything. It just has a little bit of splash damage, I guess you could say. And they do have a pretty high missile attack. I've taken 2 of them in this game, but in the next version I'm working on right now, you will only be able to take 1 of them before the red limit. And their melee stats, so don't expect them to be the Parathil Champions in melee. They're more like Ethel and Men-at-Arms in melee. They're really pathetic. So keep those things in mind. There's my other unit of Iron Swan Siegebreakers. There's the other Firebow unit. Second unit, dismounted Iron Swan Captains. I talked about the Pikemen. I think I've got some Halberds around here somewhere. There's another Iron Swan Guardian unit. Ethel and Halberds, yes. And I thought I had more than just 2. Maybe I passed over. I thought I had 2 in this game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I did only take 1. Oh well. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll zoom on up until we see Rusty's army. We'll go through his army composition. So this is the first of 2 games we played, and these were kind of test games to test the map. So I'm not just playtesting this with the game's AI. And in this first game, we decided, okay, how good of a defensive position is this here for a 1v1? And that will be answered shortly. So that's why I'm setting everything back up in this valley, this pass in the hills here. Just wait for me to They move back. The balance of power does not like my chances, though. It really does not. It I'm. It seems to think I'm the underdog. So yeah, we'll see here. Rusty will be playing as Angmar today, so there's his army, and we'll go through it real quick. He's got Guardians of Karn Doom. I think he's got 2 or 3 of them. I can't remember how many you can take before the red limit. I want to say it's 3. Angmar halberds. It's nice that Angmar have halberds, but this is actually one of the few instances where Dol Amroth's halberds, Dol Amroth's version of this infantry unit are better, I would say. That is, some halberds. Gunabad Guard, they're okay. I'm not personally a huge fan of them. I know why people take them, though. They are a reliable board and phalanx unit. But I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe it's just the way they look that I don't like. Not sure. Before I talked about them, Rusty really likes his Witch Realm Scourge Raiders, and I don't blame him. They're very effective with their axes they throw. They only get 2, I think. They don't get very much ammo, but it's highly damaging especially against my phalanx units. Would these guys be the most effective against Dol Amroth? Yeah, they would be against their phalanx units. But in the next version, I'm coming up with. Dol Amroth kind of move towards more sword and board and cav, and less away from their phalanx stuff. So they may not be like the ideal unit against them. Really, you'll want just trolls to smash through the sword and board lines. Blackwatch Legion, on the other hand, are getting a massive buff in the newest version. They've taken a substantial reduction to their numbers because I've turned them into a General's Bodyguard tier unit with 2 hit points. Their attack and... both their primary attack and their charge bonus attack have gone up. And their melee skill has gone up substantially. Their armor's also gone up a little bit too, with only a very mild increase in cost. They're, I think, about somewhere in the ballpark of 1,000 florins right now. They go up to about 1,250 in the upcoming Ultimate Compilation Mod version 1. So they'll be a really good use for Angmar players in that, because they'll be able to take way more punishment than they can now. And with a shield value of 16, they can already take a ridiculous amount of punishment before they go down. But you're only ever going to get 1 of them before the red limit. That's my trade-off. Rusty might not be happy with that, but we'll talk about that later at some point. Like with Harad, I'm going to have Rusty help me with Angmar. So all of these changes are subject to change themselves. So he's brought Trolls of Gunabad. He's brought the dreaded Angmar Ballista. This thing is nasty because it fires Dragon's Breath cannon bolts, basically. It's nasty. Now, there's some quirk with the animation with these guys that kills individual models as they fire. But they only have like 15 bolts anyway, and with a unit size, what was that, 75? That's way more than I was expecting it. Yeah, he's still going to have 60 crew left by the end of everything, so it's honestly not that big of a deal. Or Scourge Raiders, Witch Realm Hammer Guard. I love these guys. They're tough. I think these guys, along with the Tharbad Warhammers, actually they may... Oh, the Sons of Durin, I guess, also have a 2-handed hammer too, but I think that either... It's a coin toss for me between these guys and the Tharbad Warhammers. I would probably pick the Tharbad Warhammers, only because they get a mild shield value, I think, and these guys don't. But still, I love them. 2 hit points, great armor, insane attack, really high skill. There's almost nothing bad about them. Then we've got the Witcher on Blackguard. I love this model. I'm probably going to make it so that 2 of these will be available to Angmar before the red limit in the future version. Because they're solid, but they're not. They don't have AP or a mass buff or anything like that. So I think they'd be. I think it'd be a cool addition to their army. I would just like to see more of this model. Honestly, it's like the only reason I would do it. But because Angmar, let's be honest, is pretty strong as they are. That's just kind of what I've got planned here. More Gundabad Guard. I've already said everything I need to say about them. More Guardians of Carn. Oh, so yeah, he took 3. Is what it is. Oh yeah, actually, these guys are going to get a really small madness buff to like 3 or 4, maybe at the most. So they're not going to be able to bowling ball their way through a pike line necessarily, but they will. They can help push back sword and board units. So yeah, be prepared to take more of these in the future. Halberds, I've already said everything I need to say about them. I don't see any pikes unless I've got them hidden somewhere. And this is probably, if I had to guess, yeah, that's the Witchers. The Witchers. They have a little bit less ammo in this mod than they did in normal Reforged by like 2 shots. So I think before they get 6, now they have 4. So they're still devastating. And I'm probably not going to reduce them any more than I have already. I do really like their model though. I may end up actually. We'll see. I might try to use this model to create a new unit in the future, but we'll see. Alright, so sorry about the long-winded army comps, by the way. These first few replays with the sub-mod are going to be kind of like that, just so that everyone gets an idea for the meta that I'm trying to create, but once we get the sub-mod rolling, though, they won't be like that. So let's get started. And if I know Rusty, he's probably going to just try to tee off into me with his ballista first. Let's see. Yeah, I've put the Iron Swan Guardians out front in case if he tries to surprise me and rush me, because these guys can hold pretty well. I've got the Peritho Firebows behind them because they're damaging, but they won't rip Angmar to pieces, though, I don't think. Given that they're not armor piercing or body piercing or anything like that. They just have a little bit of splash damage with their arrows now. And when I say splash, it's like it'll hit a guy and maybe the guy next to him if he's like in physical contact with one of those comrades. Like it's not that substantial. What's going on now? Let's see. Oh, I did take another unit of halberds. Look at that. Huh. There they are. Thought I did. Yeah. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. No. Right. What is Rusty doing? Moving forward, barrel lights. Okay, fair enough. Yep, that's what I would do too. Barrel whites are a little bit faster now than they were before. So you can probably tell because I'm only on 1x speed there. They're not that much faster, but I didn't think that them being really slow, as slow as they were in normal Reforged, was really doing anything other than just like looking cool. But the time waste, just waiting on them to get to the front line, I didn't think was worth it. So they still move relatively slow. And I still have the really cool walking animation. But it just saves everyone a little bit of time. Yeah, here comes the ballista. Oh boy, here it comes. He's making a rush for me. Looks like he's going to leave these boys behind. Oh, no, hold on. I think he's moving these barrel whites. They've popped up and they're coming. Witchers are going to stay back for a little bit. Parathil firebows firing on the ballistas. That's a no for me. Obviously, he'll shut down this ballista as soon as he can. Because it is devastating. Yeah. Snaga Stalkers. In the previous video, I said my piece on them. I really don't like them much. Like, they don't have a bonus against CAD. They don't have literally the only thing they're good for is just existing and dying. So, yeah. So you might be thinking, oh, poor Rusty's Ballista Crew's getting shredded. And, yeah, but look at that. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Oof. Ow. Jeez. Yeah. That's what I'm up against here, boys. So, I left the Parathil Firebows out too long. It's gonna get into me with his trolls here. And see, yeah, this is what the Parathil Firebows turn into. They're just, like, they're only slightly better than Men-at-Arms. Iron Swan Captains are the exact thing you want to use against these trolls, though. They're, as I said before, they're basically Axemen of the Sun. So they'll tear trolls to pieces. We've got pipes holding the line. That looked like that hurt. Because I've charged forward these. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I was trying to charge them into the trolls here, and then they got nuked by that ballista. And they're routing out. It's really unfortunate. Guardians are just getting bullied out of the way. So I need to start using my ammo. So yeah, I'm running my wardens up here to tee off into them. Try to keep them out of the keep them away from the attentions of that ballista. I think those Swan Captains, Iron Swan Captains, will come back. Moving forward, pikes and Parathil champions to staunch the bleeding as best I can. Because these Iron Swan Captains are not going to hold off forever. Well, I guess I must have gotten things mixed up here. I think I meant to have Iron Swan Captains, not Guardians. And yeah, he's still able to tee off into me. Okay. That's unfortunate. Try to box these Black Watch Legion in to try to cut off his ability to push through me. And I'm going to shoot into the Scourge Raiders and the Halberds and try to take away some of the range potential from them. For the moment, we're actually winning on the front, which is very surprising. It's not surprising I'd be winning here just because I'm out. That's going to change things to the better stuff. Oof. Jeez. That hurts so much. Okay, well, we need to keep firing. In fact, you know what? Actually, I'm going to turn the game volume down. There we go. So I don't have to speak as loudly. Yeah, I think that's probably better. So we're still holding up pretty well. We've got halberds and things now. They're in formation. They will do very well against Angmar. They're one of the few things that Delamroth had going for them in normal Reforged, if I'm being honest. As far as their infantry goes. Got more halberds coming into things because these trolls are almost gone. A combination of Iron Swan Captains, which they're still there. I think they may come back. He's trying to run them into my wardens, but that's not really going to be a safe place for his troll there. Shooting into the Parathil Firebows, but they're though I'm more than happy to let him shoot his ballista into them. The troll being in there is a bit obnoxious, so we better turn our attention to it. Did he just shoot his own troll? No. I would have laughed at that if I'm being honest. But Guardians routing, that's a shame. Yeah, it still has the ricochet effect too. It sucks to be on the receiving end of that. Dol Amroth is doing pretty well, holding the line. That'll probably start. We've got Iron Swan Siege Breakers here, who would be excellent counter to the Barrow Lights, because they'd be able to just charge through them and knock them around with their high mass and the low mass of the Barrow Lights. It makes for a very one-sided arm wrestling match. But their sheer numbers will start to weigh me down. So I'm just going to deploy Andrew into them, because it's actually a lot more viable to shoot Barrow Lights now than it was before. The reason Barrow Lights were so tanky before was because they had a shield value of 10, which is nuts, in my opinion. It's much lower than that now. I do appreciate the fact that it's trying to represent a sort of like ethereal power that they would have, but 10 is a little bit overkill in my opinion, so I dropped it down to like 4. But they attack. Excuse me, their attack is a little bit better than this previously, though, so I try to be balanced. This is a really cool fight. I've got the Haven Guard in here now. They'll do wonders against a lot of these trolls, and we have a broken these break siege. This is frustrating to me. These guys are breaking. Oh, it was the Witchers that did it. That's why. Yeah, I think I've noticed the Witchers here, so it looks like a couple of them may have been dropped. Yeah, I have noticed them, but they're... Despite how vulnerable to arrows that people think they may be, they actually still stand up for a good while. Same thing, is there only one left? I guess they were all down to one hull point except for this one guy. But at this point the battle's over. He got the Witcher blasts he needed, and that was the only thing that he needed to do to break me, so... Last stand here, running the fire blows, try to keep things going with the Haven Guard, but... That's the frustrating thing about Witchers, is they get one well-placed shot, and then the entire army's back just crumbles, so... It's gonna be tough to deal with that. Couldn't quite deal with them fast enough. A lot of these boys are coming back in. We'll make the best last stand that we can, and it's still relatively close, although that ballista has something else to say about that, I think. Oh, man, that hurts. See, with all the units I'm planning on giving to Angmar, that may end up changing the ballista. We'll see, though. Again, I'm going to work with Rusty on this, because I don't... He knows their roster better than I do. Or he knows how they should play better than I do, I think. So I will consult with him before I make any dramatic changes. But given that Angmar really weren't in a position to be much help relative to normal Reforged, don't expect them to get close. He's trying to sideswipe into the Scourge Raiders. For the moment, I'm about to run out of ammo with my Wardens. For the moment, ow. Yeah, it's a ballista right to their face. Over Spirit House, that's okay. For the moment, they're gonna be kind of stun locked. What am I doing? I think that was a misclick. I didn't mean to do that. 74 for 69. So it's still a 5% gain. don't know if his ballistas have ammo. Somehow I have my doubts. But with more barrel lights, that's going to be the final nail in the coffin, I think. He's not firing his ballista, so I'm guessing they're out of ammo. If he didn't have the third unit of barrel lights, I think I could maybe pull this back. It'd be tough, but I think it could be possible. He's got Hammer Guard in there now, though they have taken some pretty serious damage. I think probably from the Wardens in Nimmerville. Only 3 halberds left. Okay. I guess they probably would win that fight. The numbers that the barrel lights are providing them would really give them the edge, I think. I've tried to trap the Gummerbad Guard, and I have successfully done the Perithal fire post, but they're not really going to be able to finish them off by themselves. They're going to need another unit to come in and kill them. So if it's just them versus the fire bows, the Gummerbad Guard will probably win that. Yeah, that's the Siege Breaker's nerve finally breaking apart. Halberds are breaking. This is probably game here pretty soon. I am going to get I think one last volley into the back of the Black Guard. I think that's what's scaring a lot of my boys here. So we're going to shoot into their back. We should do some pretty good damage to them, actually. Yeah, the Swan Guardians are running off. So we got the Scourge Raiders back here chanting. They're doing this glitch. I wish I would have noticed that. That's the frustrating thing about pikes or halberds when they do that glitch. It's just... it's difficult to deal with. And he's pulling the Blackguard out. I don't remember this happening. Not that I don't believe it did, but it's an interesting choice because I think that probably gave me more of a chance than I should have had. Wardens of Nimmerdale are in the mix of things now with Imrahil himself, and there's actually, we could maybe end up seeing a general versus general fight. Unless if the general's the Witch King. Okay, I guess he's throwing them back in already. $76 for 89, so if I get 80%, yeah, that'd be a decent game, but yeah, I wish I could have done a little bit better. We've got the Blackguard down to 8, so he's really just leaning really heavily on the barrel lights at this point. He's got some Scourge Raiders too, and some other things in the mix, but it's overwhelmingly barrel lights I'm dealing with at this point. Perithal Champions are still fighting. I love Perithal Champions. They do not run. Pike's routing now. This is definitely the end here for me. I think we've lost all our Haven Guard, I want to say. So it's basically just down to the Wardens of Nimmerville and the few remaining the Perithal. Just that's a shame. Oh, that's cool. I have to make sure to make that the screenshot. Let's see. There we go. Take a screenshot of that and make that the thumbnail. I think that'd be really cool. Imrahil fighting against an officer of Angmar. Oh, actually, he's not an officer, sorry. He's a hammer. Still, I think we make a cool screenshot, though. He's probably going to go down here pretty soon, though, unfortunately, because we've less than 30 Wardens left. And they're my last unit. They are locked morale, so they'll stand and fight to the end. And it will take these, it will take him a while to kill them all, because he's lost most of his killing power, so... there goes the red elf. Only 12 hammer guard left, and I just don't have the killing power to finish them off. And even if I did, I'm just going to be overwhelmed by all these barrelites. So that's a change I've made after this game. I had a talk with Rusty about it, and he agreed that maybe barrelites, if there's going to be 3 before the red limit, they should be, their unit size should be a bit smaller. We agreed probably 150 at the minimum, 200 at the most. So I'll probably settle for... I'll probably be more generous and give them 200, but I will probably give them at least 170 for the ultimate compilation mod version of the release. Watch these last few wardens fight to the death. Blackwell River Valley. Only 5 left. I'm just trying to see what kills they can get. Yeah, Rusty played a good game. I didn't play my greatest game, but I think I did decent anyway. This will end up slightly less than 80%. As I said, I'll release this one first, and then I'll release the rematch we had between Cardinal and Corrupt. And then I'll probably do either an alternative Reforged replay that I did against Commander Legolas. It was a Dwarves versus Elves game, or I'll do a normal Reforged game that I played a while back as Gondor in a Siege of Rivendell. I gave that to Commander Legolas, and he hasn't been able to review it and record it, so I decided I'd probably just do it myself. Hopefully I didn't give it to Windy Pops. I can't remember for sure, though. But yeah, I think I'll probably end up doing that, because that was a fun game. Where I play as Gondor and besieging Rivendell. Okay, so thanks for watching this, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back here soon with another one. Thanks.